Hello, and welcome to an amazing episode of Misfit Toys Comedy Live. Let's get some snaps. Jazz hands. That means you too, kids. Yes, yes, yes. Sarah and Justin, I need to see some jazz hands. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, we have a very special episode coming to you from Baja Off the Grid in Mexico. This creative power couple. First, Sarah LaBrie. I don't know where to begin. MFA from NYU, Brown. She's been working on this amazing show for Disney Plus, writer for Made for Love on HBO Max, Victor on Hulu, Even the Rich. Do I keep going? I mean, I just don't know. I mean, the awards, the fellowship from Ukraine. I mean, it gets to the point where I'm like, are you real? Is this really happening? Wow, just amazing. So honored to have you. And we have your husband here. Yes?
Yes.
And this is Justin Lerner. Yes, 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 yes.
That's me.
And okay. Oh boy, here we go. I can't even get into the awards from Emmy, Gotham. We have the movie Replacement Child, Girlfriend, Automatic Hate. You have this amazing Guatemalan film, Cadejo Blanco, Beverly Hills Film. It goes on and on and on. You are such a joyful couple. The first time I saw you together, I was like, wow. And then the more I learned about you, the more impressed I was. And I'm just so honored that you are here. So for everyone watching from all over the world, from the UK, Wales, New York, LA, in between, South America, Asia, Africa, we love you. Write in, tell us where you're coming in from. We love to start with breakfast in BITCH. We reclaim the world by the world and the word by spelling it. What's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard right now in your lives? And what you have for breakfast? Sarah, start, please.
For breakfast, I had an orange and this really incredible habanero jam from Casa Doña Lupe, which is a winery like a couple hours from here.
It's in Valle de Guadalupe.
In Valle de Guadalupe. What is it? Bizarre,
ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm so lucky to be here right now. It's hard to think about anything that's hard.
Some people know. So Baja Off the Grid is a private peninsula, a little bit south of San Diego, and we've created this kind of creative spiritual oasis. I don't know. You happen to be in the crown jewel of the property. So what is it like to just be off the grid?
It's incredible. It's transformative. I think both of us are sleeping better and feeling more and thinking more clearly than we have in years.
Having very intense, strange dreams,
Being really productive with our work. It's like coming here solved all of my problems.
I love it. Coming to Mexico solved all the problems. And then they all came back as soon as I got.
That's what's hard is that we're going to have to leave and I'm going to have to go back to.
You know that we love you so much. You don't have to go. Please don't. Please. We would love to have you. What are one of the problems that has been solved?
I think coming here, I was thinking how do I juggle? So I am a fiction writer and I sort of come from this world of prose. I'm working on a book and then I have a couple of TV projects going and I love them all and I'm really excited about them all and they're so fun in various ways, but it's just okay, I got to finish. I have to move forward. I have to figure out a way to progress and not just sort of be in the middle of these three projects. And I think coming here helped me just realize there's so much more time in the day than I knew. I'm waking up so early here and it felt like I was under so much pressure and I had to beat myself up to get this stuff done. But it's no, there's time. It'll happen. The world will give you the time. And now I have the time. This place solved all of my problems by giving me back my time.
I love that many of us operate from a point of scarcity, especially in regards to time. And one thing I love about Mexico and Mediterranean countries is that they don't operate on the same time continuum. And it is so liberating to be in the moment and not feel guilty, not feel pressured by the future, but feel joy in the moment. And I think that that is so amazing that that has happened in such a short time. I love that. Justin, have you, what'd you have for breakfast, and what's bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard about life right now?
I made a quesadilla with jalapeno queso fresco that we got from Doña Lupe, the winery in Valle de Guadalupe.
Would you explain to our viewers, what is the Valle de Guadalupe? Where is it?
It's about an hour and a half further south of Tijuana when you come in to Mexico from San Diego. It's a wine valley, kind of like Napa, Sonoma, but totally less pretentious, and everyone's much more friendly, or like Paso Robles. Unbelievable food, but just like winery after winery, boutique hotels, and really good restaurants. And so it was my birthday on Wednesday, and that's part of why we're here. So we spent my birthday going to a couple wineries and having dinner at a little finca farm in the valley in that area. So we bought obviously a lot of marmalade and jams and wine and cheeses, and gonna bring it all back to Los Angeles.
So is anything bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, or hard, maybe even just different about being here in Mexico, albeit 2 hours from San Diego?
Yes.
It's such a difference, that 2 hours. In Europe, I think people know, because you can go 2 hours and now you're in a completely different culture, language. But in America, rarely can you go such a short time or distance and have such a completely transformative geographic, cultural experience.
Yeah. Bizarre is I've been having really lucid dreams. I think it's because I've been sleeping sound or falling asleep to the ocean with no electronics, no TV, and just the waves and the birds. Like I wake up without fail at 6 a.m. as it's getting light and the ocean. And I think it's just been more conducive to sleep. And I think the better you sleep, the better thoughts you have throughout the day.
For sure.
And more productive. So that's been the bizarre. Ironic has been, I've gotten more done here in less time, meaning like when I decide, okay, I'm going to work, I get the things done. And I think it's part of what, because I'm in such a beautiful place, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to like lose focus and procrastinate. I'm going to spend an hour working on this so that I can take this little one out to like the beach and go on a run. There are more rewards here for being efficient with my time because I can go enjoy nature. There's that pressure in a good way. So that's been ironic, is I'm in paradise, but I'm actually being more, I'm using my time better. I love it.
Ray wants to send you happy birthday from Wales. What's up, Ray? We love you.
I love Wales. I have a good friend from Wales. So
you are both incredibly creative, very prolific, productive. You have amazing accolades. Most people, quote unquote, successful. And before we even get into that, what do you define as success? What is success? Do you feel you have achieved success? Is it yet to be achieved? Were you successful? What does success mean to you? And then what was the journey to get there? Or maybe you haven't gotten there yet. I don't know.
I think there are different levels of success, but one of them for me is being able to work without having any creative restraints, and something that comes from your brain being taken seriously by other people. Mm-hmm. Like something that you've done that people immediately like put it to the top of their list to read or to watch. That for me feels success. And then also getting a response and being taken seriously by other artists when I write them. Mm-hmm. And they have either seen my work or know of me enough to write back. And that for me is the kind of success that I'm having just finally now after like 15 plus years of working on being a filmmaker. Then there's other successes like financial and all of those. But for me right now, that's how I define it. for this level of my career.
And what about you, Sarah?
I think
What does success mean to you?
for the longest time, it was financial. It was just like not having to have a day job that I hated. And then,
So that I just want to unpack that really quickly. So for you, success was making money at something you love.
yeah, because
Enough money that you can support yourself, but doing something that you love and support yourself. That to you is success.
Right. And like, I'm from Houston, which is like, you know, everybody I grew up with had sort of a, you know, was a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, like very practical. And I thought that was kind of just how you had to live your life. And I always had these like boring office jobs, and I would write and be in writing groups and being submitting work on the side. And I just thought if I ever could just not have to commute to a terrible skyscraper in Westwood in LA, I'll have made it, you know? And then I'm able to like make a living doing what I love. And now it's much more sort of like being able to be in conversation with the work that inspires me, either on a personal level, whether that means like meeting with other writers whose work I've long admired, or working for them, or working with them on projects, or creating prose that is able to sort of engage with the same ideas that work that I love engages with and continues that conversation.
And so in the journey, both of you have studied for a considerable amount of time. I believe you have a master's.
We
Both of you both do.
Yeah.
So you didn't just jump in. You spent the time to build a foundation and learn from those that came before you, and really kind of learn the formula systems, like you trained to do this.
Oh, yeah. I studied for 4 years at a master's in fine arts at UCLA for film. Also studied in undergrad. I studied theater and film. My degree is both of those. And then I took a year between those two schools to just mess around in Spain and meet people and perfect my Spanish and read more, write more. And Sarah, you went to a couple of programs after college, right?
Yeah, but I do think that like meeting you were the first person, because Justin's a little bit ahead of me.
No, I'm just older.
Yeah,
that's all.
If you haven't noticed, I had a Just for Men moment where I dyed my beard because it was the color of Justin's, but I was like, I'm going to be on camera, so I'm going to try to kick a couple of years off so I can be looking more like Sarah.
I'm growing into it. I'm fine with it. I like it.
But so I have a question though, because so many of the youth are disillusioned with the university system. It is expensive. It is long. Right now, it is being done virtually, and many of the younger generation are being robbed of the campus experience. And we are learning that a lot of the classes are being taught virtually. Is that still true? If I want to be successful in writing, directing, producing, and I don't have the money to, or maybe I don't have the time, I don't know, I can't get into the master's, but what could I do? Is there another way, or is that the way? I know it's the way for you, but is there another way for anyone that's watching that I would love to do that, but I don't know if I can do a master's at NYU or a master's at UCLA, but I still have this creative voice. What other avenues, or have you seen anyone else? What would you say to those that are younger, that are a little disillusioned with the previous university system?
Well, with creative writing, I got my MFA in NYU in creative writing, and I got it for free because they have fellowships, and like they don't want you to go into debt for a creative writing degree. I think it's a little bit different for film, but a lot of arts programs, what I did, I spent like 2 or 3 years in writing groups, taking classes at UCLA Extension, like really getting as good as I possibly could.
And then you got the fellowship that paid for the school.
And I wouldn't have gone to grad school if I hadn't gotten a fellowship. I would never have paid for grad school.
So just let's some snaps and some jazz hands for that, because that's not an easy accomplishment. But it took her 2-3 years of just doing it. And then she applied for the scholarship, got the fellowship, and did it for free. So if you're sitting, listening, watching, do it with intention, and then trust that Yeah, you will become better, and it will be made possible, money or no money, it will be made possible. And here is Sarah living proof that it works. What was the hardest thing in that? What was the biggest challenge in that time to get the fellowship when people get stuck? What for you was your hardest moment?
Rejected the first time I tried to apply for grad school. I got rejected from everywhere I wanted to go to. It took like multiple rounds of applications because you can't fake it. Like I really thought I had what it took and I didn't. And it was really because of Justin being like, you need to push yourself harder, like tear these stories apart, fix them. Like you can do better. Like just finding some humility and just grinding really, really hard for longer than I expected to have to.
I forced her to apply to grad school, and
how many times? And
she moved away from me for 2 years.
But
because of it.
I wasn't gonna finish my NYU application. I was like, I'm not gonna get in. I didn't get in last year. I'm not gonna get in. And you were like, just finish it. And then I not only got in, but I got in with a fellowship.
And my reward for inspiring her was that she moved.
You got 2 years without her.
Yeah. So. Really,
but here you are today.
I totally forgot about that.
Maybe in the long run, it was a good move by me. It was like,
but see, this is many of us, again, don't think about the long term, are playing this sprint, are short-sighted and make decisions. So many men would not have inspired her because they would have operated from a point of fear that if it was the application, if she gets it, if she goes away, she will not come back and be part of my life.
In the short term,
So having the faith, having in your relationship, in your partner, in their talent, you operated not from fear, but from love. And in the long term, it paid off. But in the short term, and many of us, I think, are have this kind of narrow vision of time and act on the short term, not on the long term. And it sounds like you have that.
Yeah, the best things that I have accomplished have come by planting seeds very early and then paying off much later. Very rarely do I make a decision and then it just immediately results the next day. Like what you said before, there was one in that acronym you gave me of something that's driving me crazy.
Bizarre, ironic, terrifying, crazy, and hard.
Okay, terrifying and crazy is that I'm waiting right now to find out where we're going to world premiere with my new film. Well, we don't know. We're
putting it out there right now. You can do it. Do it.
5 or 6 really good options, and
Toronto can.
I mean, look, there's a lot of really good festivals that are starting to post-COVID be live and in person, and if we get into one, it'll mark the end of a cycle of something that I started 3 years ago, which was working with these kids and on this movie. And then any relationship I've made over the course of my time making films has been something where I met with someone 3 years ago, got in touch with them again a year later, and then eventually we started working together on something. But it took a really, really, really long time, you know?
So you persevere. And this is what I love so much, the irony. Here are two people who are in love, who have played the long game, who persevere. And their biggest problem, biggest challenge that was solved when they came here was time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That to me is so ironic because on the outside you seem like masters of time, but then on the inside what you said is no, not at all. That's actually our biggest problem. But yet you seem masters of time, but then you're like, no, not at all. And the irony of how you seem like you have mastered this thing of time and but yet it is still something. So it's that double-edged sword, that yin and yang, that, you know, that what creates also so what has created so much success in your life at the same time torments you in a way. That rush, that lack of time. Am I wrong? Am I unpacking that correctly?
You're right. I think here it forces you to just focus in a way that it could take me an hour to do a simple task or something in the city that I can do in 15 minutes here because there's very few distractions. So it's like if I could bring the meditative kind of quiet focus back to my life in the city that I have here, that would be great. But it's like, this is training for going back. Like if I can keep the calm, there have been a bunch of mini like problems with work since I've been here, but I've handled them in such a calm way here because I have these surroundings. If I can recreate at least mentally the surroundings that I have here back in the city, I think I could confront my adversity and conflicts a lot.
That's why I moved into the hills when I lived in Los Angeles. I always had a view.
Yeah.
For me, it was the most important thing. Like, yes, albeit it was like on the east of the 5 and like in those hills, like by the Rose Bowl. So like, and that was like in the early 2000s. So like no one was trying to come to Highland Park back then. But the solace was I could come out onto the deck. I could see all the way to Griffith Observatory on a clear day, the ocean, the downtown, and just watch suns. Like there was this just, it poured honey over my soul. And it was just so, that to me was so important because the day was so hectic. And to be able to have something to connect me to my community, my world, the universe, nature, to me was super important. And I've always needed that. Didn't matter how, like I've always had an apartment with, even at Georgetown, I had in the dorm, I made sure that I had like a view of the Potomac River and like I needed some kind of view to something to connect me with my surroundings. And that helped me get through.
There's something about this place too. Like there's so much joy, I think, in the way that you decorated it and the way that the building is constructed. It's really, I'm just so happy here. So I'm approaching everything I do with joy and it just makes it go so much faster. So I don't know. I feel like if you're saying maybe the answer is to live somewhere with a view, maybe we need to move.
Or those that can't, you know, that's another reason why I work in art. And those that have, you know, a lot of my clients are in New York, or they're they just don't have the luxury of the view. So having a piece of art that invokes that energy, and so, you know, having paintings, art that you can, you know, maybe if you have this, you even change like every 4 months, I just change out all the paintings in the house and put different art up. I have like an art closet, and then I just, and I in LA I had a storage unit, and I would come and I would just switch out all of the art for the entire house. Yeah. And it would just change everything, the energy, the dynamic, the flow. So for me, that the surroundings, I populate my desk with little trinkets. So this is Voltron. This is the head of Voltron. And what it triggers in me is that I am just this little guy, but my job is to assemble all of the other powerful robots so that we can achieve what the one cannot. And so I have these little guys around me to remind me, why am I doing this? Why is it that? Because when you get those calls and you start to get I'm like, no, Voltron, remember, you're about to assemble, you got to create okay, we got to, you know, those little trinkets and moments which you notice in the house are there to create joy, so that when you get stressed out, you look up in the corner and go, oh yeah, I remember, that's why I'm doing. Oh, okay.
You have this beautiful chandelier in here that like everywhere you look, there's just something beautiful to look at. And it's just like, and it's not like everything's so expensive and, you know, like, it's just like, it's chosen so carefully, and that it's just, it infuses the whole space with so much energy. And it's
I think the other thing is that after it gets dark, there's very little to do other than like sit and relax and go to sleep or listen to the waves. So it makes you wake up earlier here. We're on a schedule here that like we're waking up with the sun and almost going to sleep with the sun. It's actually kind of cool.
When you sink in with the universe.
Yeah.
When you go with the flow. And I could never do that until I came here.
No.
It just happened, and it happened organically, which is like, I cannot meditate to save my life. I do not like the yoga, where the meditative yoga, the really, really hard one where they're like, rotate your thumbs for 30 minutes and say, I love you. What is that one called?
I don't know. That sounds like
Bikram.
some chanting or something. I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
That yoga is the toughest for me. Like I like the hip hop flow yoga. I'm like, I need some Mary J. Blige to get into my downward dog and then flow into my thing. Like I like this like dancey flow yoga. I'm not sitting here trying to find no. I'm like, must go from your class. This is not working for me at all. So in your journey, we're gonna jump to BTS. Behind the scenes moments. You have just finished an amazing film that was shot in Guatemala. I want Sarah to tell me about the film.
She visited me in pre-production and she met some of my cast members.
There we go. So Sarah, give me the BTS. So first describe the film, what it's about, really quick, just a synopsis, and then give me the scoop on the behind the scenes of shooting in Guatemala with Justin Lerner.
I definitely thought my husband was going to be murdered.
Come on.
This movie called David Blanco, and it was shot in a small like port town called Puerto Barrios outside Guatemala City, and it is about these youth gangs in this very small town where there aren't a lot of jobs, aren't a lot of opportunities, and a lot of the kids end up joining gangs because that's what they have to do to survive. And Justin speaks Spanish fluently, and he teaches in Guatemala City. So one of his students is from this town.
But wait. So he taught before the film or after the film?
No, he's been teaching for years. He's been teaching in Guatemala City at a film school. He helped found this film school at UFM.
It's called since 2016. I've been teaching at this film school. Yeah.
And one of the students his family's from Puerto Barrios. So Justin ended up going to this town with his student, who's also his friend, and interviewing all of these kids there and befriending them. And he wrote a script about a girl whose sister disappears and she believes has been kidnapped or taken by one of these gangs because she was dating a member of one of them. And so the girl goes to try and save her sister. And so
the gang.
I'm telling.
Okay.
No, I just don't spoil it.
Let her tell the story.
It's okay. You can say she joins.
So she joins the gang. She kind of like goes undercover in one of these gangs, and he has this incredible actress, Karen Martinez, who's all of the actors are Guatemalan. It's a Guatemalan production. Justin's the only gringo on the film. He wrote it in Spanish. He wrote it with these kids from this town, and I didn't know this. I've been traveling to Guatemala with Justin for years. We have friends there. We love it, but apparently this place where he was is very dangerous. And shooting there and sort of getting involved in these gangs came with a lot of risk.
What's the main purpose of the gang? Is it to sell drugs? Is it to sell arms? Is it to do racketeering? Like what's the main? Because like there's different types of gangs for different things.
It's a very controversial question. I think it's because they need a
or
family.
Is it it's create community? Is it like what? Like,
it's a family and a way to survive. You survive better in a group than you do on your own there. Well, obviously, I think it's to make money. Obviously, it's to have power, but it's honestly survival and family. Honestly.
So people join gangs out of survival
and
to have community and a need, and then you make more money in the gang than you would at a regular type of job that you could get.
If you could even get a job, because it's a port town with very few jobs. There's like a few at the Chiquita Banana port where all the bananas from the world come from. There's this little port. And then there's some bars you could work as a delivery person, or you could cut hair or wash cars or fix cars.
Yeah.
But very few jobs and very high rate of violent crime and teen pregnancy and all that.
But something I think that's important to note is that it's not misery porn.
No.
Like as somebody who I'm Black, I grew up in Third Ward, I grew up in like a working class part of Houston, and I feel like a lot of times when people go into like these minority communities, it's like, especially white directors or white filmmakers, what they come out with is a story that doesn't feel accurate and is not for the audience
or it's exploitative.
It's exploitative, or it's not for the audience of the people who are in it. And this is not that. This doesn't in any way feel like it's just traumatic or like these people are victims. It's not. It's also not like fake inspirational. I don't know how to describe it, but it's
just that when I first went to Puerto Barrios and saw the poverty and the crime, and I became friends with all the kids who lived there, especially ones who had been in and out of gangs, I was looking at them and finding how brilliant and funny they were, knowing that some of them might have killed people in their life. And I'm looking at them. The youngest one was 8. The oldest was in their 20s. I said, the only thing that's different about you than my next door neighbor in an affluent suburb of LA is that you were born here. Other than that, there's no distinguishing these kids. And that fascinated me. So I wanted to tell a story that showed that they're not these scary boogeymen. They're just kids who have the same problems with girls, friends, their family.
And they're telling their own stories.
And that thing is like, I sat there as a guide more than a director. They gave me the story. I just put it into a structure. They gave me the details. They acted playing versions of themselves.
So what you did was, which I really love, and I get goosebumps because that just resonated with me, is that you created a space for them to speak their truth
and to tell
the structure to record. So in Misfit Toys Comedy, in our comedy studio, it's very similar, where I try my hardest to create a space for those to speak their truth and give them the tools and the framework to do so effectively, articulately, and it's still entertaining, and it can still, but to give them that space to speak their truth, and then to give them the tools and the framework so that it resonates with the masses, because there is a format. And that's pretty amazing. That's really, and that you did it in Guatemala, and that you didn't get murdered.
No.
Sarah's like,
he says, I never felt in danger. Not once did I feel in danger. I think that it's sometimes a prejudice we have against a certain area that we don't know. There are more murders in Chicago than there are in Puerto Barrios every day. There's probably 2 or 3 times.
Yes. We have to know geography, and that's going to be in a different hour, is that we start to tell people that Guatemala is actually not part of Mexico, but that's going to happen next hour. That's going to happen next hour. Now, I want Justin. Oh, so what was the beat? So, Justin, I want you to describe, have you ever been BTS, behind the scenes with Sarah on a project?
Yeah, I mean, as far as her writing, I've seen all.
So pick one moment where you have, whichever project really resonates or you connect with. Tell us your BTS story of Sarah writing whichever project it is, maybe the one that she's working on now for Disney Plus, or maybe she's done so many things, I don't know which one you're going to choose, but give us a BTS moment of one of the projects that Sarah has worked on that you have had the chance to experience.
Maybe the pilot that you wrote, or maybe.
Why are you? Don't ask Sarah, ask yourself. Like, listen to your inner voice.
The one I've had the most like viewing experience of her, actually from start to finish, has been there's 2. There's the pilot she wrote that started her TV career that she optioned to Paramount Studios, but then there's also this new job that she's working on right now.
I'm going to just pause for a second. So you wrote a pilot. People don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Based on our life.
So a pilot is what?
It's the first episode of what will be eventually, hopefully, a TV series.
Now, what is the process? So you have this pilot written. I think people call it getting it picked up or getting it sold. What happens? And did it happen or did it not happen? And if it doesn't happen, did you still get something out of it?
Yeah. So she writes the pilot, this was a half-hour comedy set in modern day. That's why I'm kind of picking it, because it is a comedy. And she based it on a premise that's very similar to our life, but exaggerated for comedic effect.
terrified woman of a Jewish husband getting murdered in Guatemala. Love it. Can't wait. When is it coming out?
Little better. It's just about a black woman about to marry into a white Jewish family and having second thoughts and feeling like she's going to lose her black identity. So she blackmails a friend of hers who's black into being a stranger, sorry, into being her black best friend who she kind of goes out on dates with. Like leading up to the wedding. Yeah, friend dates to try to learn.
It's like her Jewish beard.
Well, not really, because she loves
her black beard. It's her black beard.
Yeah, exactly. It's
why did I say Jewish beard? It's her black beard. That's not a pirate.
She loves her husband, but she's terrified of losing her black identity by marrying into a white family. So she starts hanging out with a black guy she hardly knows on a weird blackmail basis.
No interest in being friends with
him. But she keeps paying him.
Or no, she offers to like
pay off his car.
It's a sitcom, but
it's a funny love triangle. It becomes a weird love triangle, but it's more about black identity. Oh, there's Poseidon. And I got to eat a small child. From the inception of the idea of it maybe being a short story first.
It was
a novel, turning it into a pilot, and then that pilot going through many drafts to then her getting representation by a manager and signed by both a manager, an agent, and a lawyer from this one 30-page document that she wrote, all the way to her meeting with studios and optioning it to a big one, to Paramount.
But I don't see it on the air, so was it a failure?
It did not end up getting made, but she did.
No. So was it a failure?
No, it started her career. She's doing what she's doing now because of that pilot.
So I want to unpack this so that everyone who's watching and will watch and will hear the pilot that you wrote.
Yep.
Was a financial failure? Perhaps. Was it picked up and was it a huge Hollywood success? No, we're going to call it was a failure. However, it was the platform that launched everything that came afterwards.
Like literally everything. So without it.
Nothing.
None of her shows. It was
wow, dude, Justin, man. You are good thing you so cute.
I'm just saying, like, she would have none of the TV jobs she has now without that first domino, even though it didn't land. All of her projects she has now started from that project getting signed.
So basically what I'm trying to say is it was one of my books that I was reading. Opportunity often disguises herself as failure and sneaks in the back door. Oh, no. Yeah. Success and opportunity often disguise themselves as failure and come through the back door.
I agree with that. I also think that when something bad happens to you, or we have a human tendency to label it as bad in the moment, but actually if you give it time, we can't actually see if it's a bad or a good thing until much later. So you have to kind of wait.
Yeah. One of the best things that Justin taught me when we first, he was the first person I ever met who was like really going for it with his art, like for going for broke no matter what. And he told me, like, if you say you're going to do something, just do it. Like if you start something and you say you're going to finish it, just finish it no matter what. And he does that. And I try to do it. And I have found that it makes all the difference. If you just finish your shit and don't worry so much about what the outcome is, just make sure you finish it. You get so much further than people who don't do that.
So I love this because it resonates with me. I think it resonates with so many artists that what may appear as a failure in the now may actually be your greatest success in the future. And to be humble, to be patient, to be consistent, to do what you say you do, to have integrity. And integrity is basically showing up for yourself, doing what you say, doing what you set out to do is integrity. So living with integrity, accepting failure as actually a blessing, because that failure, because it wasn't picked up, you did not necessarily make money off of it. It could be considered a failure in certain categories, but in the long term, it was actually a tremendous success.
It's the first thing that people who are looking to hire her read before, and it's obviously working because she's getting hired a lot for a lot of things. So
this is so powerful on so many levels for so many people, especially now, when what they set out to do was taken away because of 2020. And many people have given up, or they didn't finish, or they called it a fail. And hearing this message, that just finishing it and doing it again and doing it because you love it and following your path and just doing what you love and doing it till it is done, regardless of the outcome, will in the long term pay off, is what I'm hearing and seeing from your stories. Am I picking up what you're laying down?
Mm-hmm. I also think that it was successful for her because it was her most directly autobiographical and self-critical.
Oh, so wait, what you're telling me is when you speak your truth, the universe rewards you with success?
I think people are attracted to getting to know someone in a really honest, forthright fashion. I'm not saying everything you write in fiction needs to be directly autobiographical, but I don't think it's a coincidence that the most honest and autobiographical thing that she wrote was the most unique and attractive to people, because it's a very interesting story told from almost a first person, of course, fictionalized a little, but it was the most direct.
But
thing.
I was going to say, what do you think?
I had been writing for 10 years. I had been writing stories about us for 10 years. I had been,
So what was the difference? You've been writing this specific pilot. There was something magical about it. What in your mind was that magic fairy dust? What was that? What was that?
That it was a pilot and not a short story. That's all. Oh,
so you're telling me
it was also the funniest thing she's ever written.
I've written a very funny short story.
Yeah, but this
no
is funnier.
Reads fiction.
No. But this is interesting to say, because many of us are creatives and are stuck in the format. I'm a comedian. I do stand-up on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you will find more opportunities in a writing room, writing comedic texts, monologues, dialogues, etc. So if someone is so stuck in one mode, if you can pivot and be flexible, but stay true to your creative truth, there are so many there's so many ways to broadcast your truth, whether it's on a YouTube channel, whether it is in a documentary, a film, a short story, a Netflix series, a 1 hour special, a film. There's so many different types of content out there and ways to distribute this content. The fact that you were not so stuck in the short story format, but you were willing to, okay, I'm going to try a pilot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Did that have something to do with it? Your flexibility, your ability to pivot.
So I was very sick of being broke. And I had two friends who, like, one of them is a corporate lawyer and her husband's an agent. And the other one was an exec at the production.
I love wealthy friends. I just got to say, I love all my friends that are wealthy and successful. Thank you for watching and tuning in. I love all of you because that lets me be artistic so that you can go to the office.
But we had all kind of started together as assistants, but they were kind of like, you know, you're a little old to be as broke as you are, like, just write a pilot. And I think it was like them being like, hey, you don't have to struggle so much. Like, just, there are opportunities out there if you just shift your perspective a little bit. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's true.
So pivoting the perspective And I think perspective is super important. And what you look at and what you focus on is what you feel, and then eventually what you become.
Yeah,
and having something where you are right now with this, anywhere you look, it's just like whatever you focus on, it's just beautiful and amazing.
Yes.
And so there's like, you're like, it transforms you when you adjust what is in your periphery and in your direct vision and just put beauty around you. And focusing on that inspiration and that beauty has in several days made quite a transformation, no?
I think the story that she had to tell was best told in the format of a pilot, just this one, and will reach more people. I think the best possible version of it is an actual filmed TV show that was
but that's because you like film.
But I also think it was funny enough and would reach more people, like Sarah said, because not as many people read fiction. Yeah. I think this particular story was very visual. It was about a woman not fitting in visually with the family and culturally with the family that she was about.
Sarah, I would have invited you to my bar mitzvah without any question.
She's been to more bar mitzvahs than me.
That does not surprise me, Justin.
So it was a weird timing thing. I think it didn't sell because just the market is weird and you never know. But it could still be a film. It could go out again. We could get an actor attached. Like I don't know. It might not
dead.
Be dead. But
yeah.
It's
no. But I also would watch the movie of Black women, specific Jew, lost in Mexico. Like that movie in and of itself could be so hilarious. Like I'm tuning in to see that happen. Now is one of my favorite part of the shows. It's the monologues, which is now brought into, it should be the matriarch logs, because many of us do not have mothers. We have grandmothers, we have aunties, we have so many strong women in our lives that have taught us so many things. So the matriarch logs, we are officially moving it from mama logs to the matriarch logs. What matriarchs in your lives have been the most influential, and what have they taught you? We love Ray. Ray is so amazing. Oh my God. You know that Ray is tuning in from Wales, and like we adore him. Like, oh my gosh. Like, he's so amazing. He woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to watch one of our online comedy shows. It was insane. Like, wow. We love Ray so much. Wales is amazing. And I cannot wait for this thing to stop so that Wales can come visit us in Wales. So that Wales can come visit us in Mexico. So that Ray can come visit us in Mexico. And then we can come visit Ray. I don't know if he's ready for all this rainbow color to like pop up into that neighborhood of yours, of Wales, but we will see. So back to matriarchal logs. Sarah, what strong woman influenced you the most, and why? Like, what was it? What was her message? What was it?
I mean, I think my grandmother and my mom, because my grandmother taught my mom this, but that you don't have to spend your life chasing money. Like, I don't come from money, but nobody in my family ever said, well, you have to be a doctor, or you have to be a lawyer. Like, they were like, if you want to be a writer, you want to be a poet, you want to, fine, just make sure you can pay your rent, live cheaply, take the bus if you have to, but life is not just about making money. And I think because of that, I was always sort of like hell-bent on pursuing writing. And then I am now actually able to financially support myself, but it happened I was able to follow my passion because they told me it was okay. And they always modeled that for me, like from birth.
So being able to follow your passion. And again, we have this irony. We have this woman who within this experience has said, I don't like being broke. I want to make me some money.
Exactly. I really hated being broke, but I managed. I don't know. I feel like I would not have made it super far in any other, like I would not have been a good lawyer. I would not, anything that like traditional.
You would have been a happy lawyer. I have no doubt that you would have been an amazing lawyer, but you would not have been a happy lawyer.
I would also have been a very bad lawyer.
Yeah.
So the matriarchs in your life taught you that passion first, money second.
Yeah. Or like money never, you know, like my grandma's basically a Marxist.
But you were not, though, because you were like, I love the fact that passion first, but girl, I am tired of being broke. Like, I need to talk to my rich friends, and they said, write a pilot. So this is and now everything, you know, okay. It takes a tribe.
I mean, also like the fact that I moved to LA, my family's in Texas, like they're happy there. It's a different vibe. But like, yeah, there was a small part of me that was like, I'm just gonna see what it's like out west in the Golden State, and we'll see.
When did you move to Los Angeles?
Right after college. So I was 22 or 23, like immediately, like the next.
Gotcha. And Justin.
So I have a few. I think, other than my mom, the woman in my life that I've been most close with in my family has been my grandmother, my father's mother. She passed away when I was in post on my second film, but I would talk to her almost every day. And she was the one person during all of the uncertainty of making my movies that would literally, I would call and she would just make me realize, she's like, whatever you're going through, keep doing it. Don't quit, because she didn't have the opportunity. She worked most of her life at the DMV, but was one of the most talented artists I've ever met. Like, she got hired by the Army to draw topographic maps of land during one of the wars. I think World War II. The U.S. Army paid her to go up into the plane, and she was such a great sketch artist that she could draw maps just from vision, just of the land and how high and elevation and stuff. And then she also moonlighted as doing sketches for anatomical textbooks for medical schools. She was that great of an artist, but she lived in this, you know, she died in, let's say about 6 or 7 years ago, and lived to be 93. So you can do the math and figure out that she was at a time when there wasn't as many opportunities for her. But she also sold a drawing to Walt Disney that became one of the characters in Fantasia. And
oh, wow.
$20, which was back then a really long time. She still had, when we cleaned out her apartment, she still had a VHS of the movie Fantasia on her VCR. So she always, inspired me, said, Justin, I never got to do with my life what I wanted to. I worked at the DMV. All I wanted to do is be an artist. Don't settle for anything but what you want to do. You've only got one life. Do exactly what you want. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what your mom or dad say about making more money. I don't care what any of your friends say, anyone you're with. Can I swear on this podcast?
I'd rather you not.
Okay. She said, screw them. But she used a different word. She's like, literally do whatever you want.
You can do what they do in Battlestar Galactica and say, frack them.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that show.
Which is all about extracting oil and saying an expletive at the same time.
I like it. But yeah, she was great. And I dedicated my last film to her. We used a painting of hers in the movie. And it was really tough. She was the person that when I was in the worst places of not financing the films, not casting it, whatever it was, she's who I called. So I talked to her every day of post-production. And, you know, my mom also got a PhD while I was a baby, you know, and has been like a superwoman my whole life. So she kind of taught me that you can do multiple things, and like you shouldn't be limited to doing one thing at once. She's kind of superwoman like that. She has 3 children, husband, and professionally very successful career as a professor, and my great grandma who came to this country from Italy. She was just always just about enjoying life and making you eat too much. And she's from Sicily, so she cooked really well, but she would always bully you into eating too much, enjoying life as much as you possibly can. And so I think with the combination of those, I kind of have all those things, I think, from those three women.
So I have the Made for Love trailer on HBO Max, this link here. Sarah, tell us a little bit about Made for Love, and when our guests, when our viewers and fans, and maybe guests as well, will click on this link, what are they going to get? What are they going to see?
So this is the first show I ever worked on, and it's about a woman who is married to a tech mogul who has implanted a chip in her brain, and she's attempting to divorce him. So she's fled for her hometown to her dad's house, and he is on her trail. The dad is played by Ray Romano. The woman is played by Kristen Milioti.
Did you know who was going to be playing the characters when you wrote them?
We were in the room for like 4 months, and then it was being cast at the same time as we were writing.
So it wasn't like Ray was there and you were writing it for Ray per se?
No, we were just hoping. Like we.
So did they give you like a short list of who might be playing it?
The showrunner would have that list, and he would come in and sometimes say, "Oh, this person is reading," or "We're out to this person," and you just never knew. Like you didn't know who was gonna ultimately get the final role.
Gotcha. And then when we see Victor season 2, tell us about Victor season 2?
It's Love Victor.
Yeah,
by the way.
It's Love Victor.
Well, you did not tell me that. Now we're gonna add
it in our private chat. It says Love Victor.
Well, you know what? I don't have enough love in my life, so that's obvious right now. So thank you for like embarrassing me in front of the world. But I will add more love to Victor. Love Victor season 2. We will change that quickly. So Love Victor season 2. Sarah, please tell us.
So it's a very sweet coming of age story about a high school boy, 16, who is coming out to his very conservative Catholic Latinx family. And in the first season, he's coming to terms with his own sexuality. And in the second season, his family is coming to terms with his sexuality, and he's having his first relationship. And it's like wish fulfillment, happiness, like telling stories. Well, if I may say so myself, I'm one of like a large team of people who made the show, but it's based on a movie called Love, Simon that was a big hit on Netflix a few years ago.
Love it. And then we have Automatic Hate. So we can watch it on Amazon. There's also on Apple's iTunes. What is Automatic Hate?
Automatic Hate is a semi-autobiographical film about a young man in his 30s who's living with his girlfriend, who gets visited by a strange young woman who claims to be his first cousin, only he was pretty sure his father was an only child. And basically, it turns out that there's been a family secret hidden. His father has been... this is part of the fictional part of it. It's semi-fictional, semi-autobiographical. His father has a younger brother who he's kept kind of under wraps to the rest of the family. So it's about him and the youngest cousin of this new family that he just discovered, discovering this family secret that tore these two families apart from acknowledging each other's existence. And as they're kind of playing detective and trying to figure out what happened between their dads, they're slowly falling in love with each other, the two first cousins. So again, very fictional. The setup of the family structure.
I think fictional depends on your geographic location.
What do you mean?
That's a joke, Sarah. Got it. The next one, Cadejo Blanco.
Yes.
This is the film that Sarah was hoping that you were going to not get murdered on and come back.
Right.
And so we have an IG. We are hoping that so it's not released yet.
No, we're still actually in post-production on it. We have not even finished all of the sound or the music yet. We're really close. And we're hoping to premiere it at a festival this year, by the end of the year. And We do have social media set up for it so that when we do have something to share, we've won some grants that are on our social media. We were selected as one of the.
Tell the world what we need to come to action. We have these IG accounts, etc. You are trying to, you will get to these amazing film festivals. What can our viewers, what can the world do to help you get there? We're hopping on your IG. We're following you, obviously. Is there anything else we can do to help promote, get you to where you need to get to? What do we need to do? Just tell us what to do, Justin.
Oh, man. You know what? Like, go see a movie in the movie theater safely.
Okay, Sarah, please tell us what to do. Because I am not going into no German movie theater, not quite yet, but that's very cute.
Okay, rent an independent film or foreign films as soon as you can. Support
Please rent an independent
movies.
film.
Support and pay for them. Don't torrent or illegally download. Pay for good independent and art house and foreign films that you like, and then tweet about them, post about them, encourage your friends to. It's been a bad year for everybody, but especially the smaller movies. The bigger movies are doing just fine.
Is there a streaming service that specializes in the films that you speak of? So we have these big brand conglomerates that are broadcasting mainstream. Shower in hand sanitizer first, Iggy. You'll be fine. Okay, fine, Ray. We'll go to the movies together. In Mexico.
Say if you're vaccinated and you can safely go to a movie theater, take precautions, but go to see a movie and don't see a big blockbuster. Go see something that's made maybe by a smaller studio or an independent film or a foreign film. Support that kind of stuff, because that, I think, if we don't continue to go see movies in the theater, it's going to disappear, honestly. But
so basically what Justin is saying is that if we keep eating McDonald's for our minds and as our entertainment, or junk food or fast food, that the organic, healthy, gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian options will soon disappear for our psyche, for our soul. And so we need to continue to support these farm-to-table, organic film production companies that actually feed our soul and feed our minds, and don't just what's the word, opiate us? I don't know, English is not my first language, but don't just help us click out, but help us click in.
Yeah. I just sent you in our chat the 2 best streaming services for these kinds of films that are created by film festival programmers and film cinephiles. And they're the 2 that if I was on a desert island and I could bring them, they're very inexpensive and you can see anything from all over the world. Mubi is my favorite. 1 movie a day is curated. Every day, a brand new film, and you get to see the last 30. So every month there's 30 new films, but 1 a day. So you get a new one and you get a last one. And Criterion Channel is more of like the Criterion collection of the pantheon of great cinema, great auteurs from the beginning of cinema all the way to present day. And they have retrospectives of the directors you love. They're 2 of the best.
Thank you. I've been struggling because I stopped watching the mass media. YouTube wasn't working, and I've watched pretty much every single masterclass there is, from Judd Apatow to RuPaul to Shonda to like you name it. I've seen every single because like that was my outlet, was masterclass during 2020. I've seen them all. Except for the cooking ones, because you know me, I don't cook. So that was but now I have a new way to feed my soul. That is amazing. I found tonight's show. Actually, Sarah, would you please read Ray's comment?
I love this. Okay, I found tonight's show fascinating. I'll be following both Sarah and Justin's work, but I need to know one thing. What's the name of your gorgeous dog? And I was going to say it at the beginning.
Birdie! And she has an Instagram.
Oh, Birdie has an Instagram. I cannot wait to post Birdie's Instagram.
I'm going to give it to you right now.
We are a couple minutes over time, but again, Time is elastic, and we do not operate from a scarcity of time because we're not on network. So before we go, yes, we will share Birdie's Insta. There better be some like Baja Birdie like moments.
They'll go up. They'll go up pretty soon.
I call it thorns and roses, and the double-edged sword. You know, there is something beautiful and amazing, and then there's something challenging. In this hour of power and truth and creativity, what was challenging? What was amazing? Even if the thorn was small, even if the bloom was yet to blossom, what were your thorns and roses of this hour, Sarah?
That's an interesting question. The roses, it's always really lovely to talk to you. You're so engaging and you're so thoughtful in your questions, and I love listening to you talk to Justin because he says stuff to you that like he doesn't say to me. So I feel like I learn more about him, which is nice. Thorn, what? I don't know that we.
What was challenging for you in a like? Was it hard for you to speak of yourself? Was it hard? Like, what were the moments where you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about this, or I don't know.
I guess it's always weird to talk about money. Like, I feel like I have a lot of thoughts and a lot to say about it, but it's such a heavy weighted thing that I feel like people don't understand where I'm coming from.
So I think not operating from a scarcity of time, but unpacking the fact that you can be a woman, a creative that wants money and integrity. No confusion. I want to be comfortable. And that includes money. But there's a certain shame attached to that, especially in our culture, to say it openly. Yeah, girl, I need some zeros after those commas. Like, stop. No confusion. No confusion. I ain't trying to show up on. No. I need to get paid. And yes, with integrity and be creative. But there is this kind of like, I even have a problem about it. Like, I have a difficult time saying it. I'm always like, but it's not about the money. But in the back of my mind, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
Her financial
because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable without.
Yeah.
Her financial success in TV has allowed me to continue to try to make these very difficult and challenging movies in my life.
But am I picking it up wrong?
Well,
but is there a certain stigma with saying, yes, I want to make?
I don't feel any shame about it. I think everyone should say it. And I think especially women should say it. I just think that other people feel differently. And sometimes
so you're concerned that you might put off some.
Yeah, or that people are just don't necessarily agree, but because it's not something that people talk about, it's not even something that you can argue about. So there's just like a silent judgment. But I definitely, because I remember one time I read this amazing op-ed by this woman in the New York Times where she was like, I am a very successful writer. I set out to make lots of money. I make lots of money and it's great. And I like took that to my therapist and she was like, well, that's a little materialistic, don't you think? And I was like, well, no, because everybody needs money to live, but
no. And then you were like, what car do you drive home, please?
Right. Like, how much are you getting paid for this hour of therapy?
I'm so glad that you said that because now I get a 50% non-materialistic discount. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But it is a touchy subject. Where is the balance between creative, artistic, and also spiritual integrity and financial success, and finding that balance?
Right.
And it is a challenge. So I can see that as a thorn is finding that for all of us. What about you, Justin? Thorns and roses of the hour.
the best, I think I've never done a Q&A interview with Sarah, with my wife. So that's cool. I never had that experience to be able to do a Q&A with her at the same time, which I think has been fun. It's easier than doing them just myself. And then, I don't know, I guess just becoming a little more insecure about the gray in my beard because you pointed it out. I think that was a tough
I
one.
have no gray in my beard. Can you see? Like, do you see?
No,
do you see?
maybe I need to like dye it now if you think that it's, or if it's not distinguished enough.
This is why you work behind the camera.
Yes, I never get, I'm never in front, and I actually don't like it very much.
No, me, surprisingly, like I'm like, I've never been so uncomfortable as in 2020 where I have to actually like look at myself for hours on end. Like I'm not.
Yes. Yeah.
Like there's a reason. Like if you come to my house, all of the mirrors are like the size of like my hand and like scarcely placed. And here I am forced to like look at myself for hours on end. And I'm like, how do I just put like what? It stresses me out.
Is that your thorn?
Is that my what?
Your thorn?
Yes. My thorn is this woolly like thing, but the thorn is finding that balance for me between vanity, you know, and like I just like moving to Mexico from West Hollywood. I can't believe I'm gonna do this.
What's going on?
This used to be a cute gay boy.
What?
You're still cute.
Yeah, for like a cult leader of like the that worships Skittles. Like this is not the situation that I left Hollywood with. Like my friends are like, girl, please fix that before you reincorporate into society. Like this is not like it is not like I'm chill. And as I am getting prepared to reintegrate back into Hollywood with multiple different projects, pilots, etc. The pressure for me to dye my beard, comb my hair, go to the gym, do these things because I will be in front of the camera. And I do feel a certain kind of like people think what is the name? So there's the gate of hell. And then before you get into hell, it's called purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
Dante's Inferno, there's purgatory. Right? Yeah. That's before you get through the gates and you get into hell. Gen Z, Google Dante's Inferno. I know you're not going to read it, but just get the crib notes and then Google purgatory. So like purgatory is aging in Hollywood. And I am 40 and change. I said it. And I'm coming back to Hollywood. Not a young spring chicken. And that is my thorn. Being on camera, being on the thing, and reintegrating myself into entertainment in front of the camera, not 25 or 25 or 25. Like literally I celebrated 25 like 5 times. So yeah, so that to me was a thorn, obviously. I obviously, and then like I say I love Ray because he's like my bear. Okay, Gandalf, you're sexy every day of the week. I don't want to talk to you right now. You are gorgeous, Ray, and like you own it.
I just had my 25th birthday on Wednesday.
See, there you go. There you go. But the rose was that you have proven that it is possible to have it all. In the sense, integrity, creative vision, love, and success. And to me, you are such an inspiration. And it has been such an honor and a blessing to have you here on the peninsula at Baja, the Grit, but just to witness how you do what you do. And that is why I wanted to invite you to MTC and to this live stream, because I was like, I think the world needs to see that it is possible, that it is possible to have it all. And it does take time, and there is some patience, and there are failures, but they are disguised as successes. And the story, the possibility, the hope, you are a beacon. It is an honor, and I absolutely adore both of you. So thank you so, so much. Everybody watching, Ray, Wales, UK, London, New York, South America, Africa, Asia, we love you. Jazz hands, some snaps. We will see you next Friday.
Thank you.
We love you. We love you. We love you.